When it comes to a leg day in the gym, we often tend to think about the main lifts and the traditional exercises. Today we show you how to incorporate end range mobility training into a classic leg day to not only make gains in the main lifts, but also to strengthen our end ranges and our joints.
There are several ways to combine your strength and mobility training. One way is to do an upper and low body split, which means on lower body strength training days, you do upper body mobility training, and on upper body strength training days, you do lower body mobility training. Great, but there are other options. Today we will show you one of them. We combine a low body strength training with a low body mobility training. Disclaimer, this isn't all the mobility you should be doing to see good results. For this training, you have two options again. First, do strength and mobility supersets, or go through all strength training exercises first and then finish your training with the mobility exercises. The superset option is good if you're short on time. Otherwise, we recommend option 2. Let's get started. The back squat is often seen as the king of exercises, and there sure is a point made, but it's not a must for everyone. Whether to or not to include the back squat into your training depends on your joint's ability to move, so your hip, knee, ankle, and spine mobility, and your goals. For the squat, there are certain movement prerequisites that need to be met in order to perform this movement safely and effectively. So you should be able to squat ass to grass comfortably without lifting shoes or heels elevated. If that is given, feel free to add lifting shoes or something similar if that's what you want. Squatting technique is different everywhere you look. Let me explain a few key factors of what I'm doing and my technique. Before I start my squat, I take a deep breath. I create tension throughout my body and bring my elbows directly underneath the bar. Then I slowly descend, sitting back while allowing my knees to pass over my toes, which kind of happens naturally. Don't overthink it. Have the technique and form right before adding lots of weight to the bar. Using the posterior chain, I push back up into a standing position. Keeping the torso as upright as possible while going back into my standing position. I usually have a pretty narrow stance, about hip width apart or less, but you need to find a comfortable squatting stance position for yourself. When you're new to squatting, start with higher volume and less intensity, which means higher rep ranges and less weight.
Next up are hip thrusts. Great exercise for your glutes and your hamstrings. Also, hip thrust allows us to really overload our posterior chain for maximum gains. Why? Because the simple and easy setup. Not much can go wrong here compared to the squats, for example. Try to choose a height which allows you to be completely horizontal when pushing up. Make sure you maintain a PPT at the top to protect your spine and squeeze your glutes as hard as you can. I like to do hip thrusts with flat shoes because I can focus on pushing through my heels rather than through my midfoot with my lifting shoes. We went for 4 sets of 8 reps here. High volume, big loads, that's what we want, right? No, in general, it really depends on your goals and programming. Nothing is wrong or right here. Just make sure the form stays clean. Last but not least, we decided to do Bulgarian split squats. This exercise is total destruction for your glutes and your quads. Unilateral exercises in general are great to overcome plateaus, to work on asymmetrics, and on your stability. To safely get into the position, start with both legs touching the bench. Then take one step forward and bring the rear leg on the bench. Keep the balance here and go as deep as you can while maintaining the stability. Push through the midfoot here and not through the front foot. This will take the pressure from the knees and is safer. We aim for 2 to 3 sets with 10 to 12 reps here.
The knee flex passive range hold can be pretty brutal, especially the first few times might be undermined by cramps, so be careful and take it slow. Set yourself up in a kneeling lunge position and grab your rear leg's foot. Bring it close to your glutes and engage both your glute and your hamstring. Slowly let go of your hand until your foot basically hovers in place. Hold it right there for 5 seconds and try to keep it as close to your glutes as possible. Repeat that for 2 more repetitions. Start with 2 sets of those 3 repetitions. If you're short on time, the passive range holds can be easily paired with the Bulgarian split squats as a superset to set your posterior chain on fire.
Here you can see some passive range lift-offs for bent leg hip flexion. This is a very good exercise to work on your squat depth and end range strength in your deepest hip flexed position. Choose a height from which you can barely lift off. Start with 3 sets and 3 repetitions with a 5-second isometric hold for the beginning. Take a deep breath before you start. Hold on to something so you can create even more body tension and don't lean back. Never. Engage your quads and lift off and hold it. Really fight here. Reset and repeat. Everybody knows a typical and normal lunge. With this variation, we focus on the widest lunge possible while still be able to do a kinetic stretch in this position. This will work mainly on hip extension and is an awesome exercise towards your front splits. As you go down, try to think of sliding your rear foot backwards and engage your glutes and hamstrings as hard as you can. When you're going up, make sure to engage your quads and think of sliding your rear foot forward. This will actively train the muscles involved in your end ranges for hip extension and strengthen it for sure. Aim for 3 sets of 6 to 8 clean reps here.
For the frog pumps, you'll need 2 dumbbells or kettlebells and 2 yoga blocks. Set yourself up in a butterfly position with your feet against the wall. Place the yoga blocks underneath your knees. And now take the dumbbells or kettlebells and place them on your knees. The weight should be pushing the knees onto the blocks. Elevate the yoga blocks if necessary. As with the hip thrusts, engage your glutes and thrust. You want your bump to get off the ground, with the knees staying on the yoga blocks. Hold it for 3 seconds at the top and repeat for a total of 8 to 10 repetitions and 3 sets. I'm using 9 kilos here, but I usually use somewhere between 14 and 16 kilos for each kettlebell. We superset the frog pumps with abduction hinges. So get into a 90-90 base position and adjust the position so you're comfortable in it. Take a yoga block and place it in front of your rear leg's knee. Take a deep breath, spread and build tension throughout your body, and then lift your rear leg off the ground. Now extend the knee and make sure you're not knocking down that block. You don't want to pass it and you don't want to knock it down. Hold it there with the extended knee, so straight leg, for a second or 2, and then hinge back into your starting position. Do that for 5 repetitions and repeat the same on the other side. Since it's a superset with the frog pumps, you will aim for 3 sets in total as well. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. You can find more information about mobility and strength and our courses on our website and social media. The links are in the description below.